Hello riders and not. Today we are back to Sykes Harley Davidson, filming another custom build by Neil. Another of your favorite.
Yeah, nice easy one, that one.
Called Goat.
Yeah.
And inspired by Valentino
Absolutely.
Rossi, the legend. You have to come in. You have to come in. You can't stand. Okay, foot peg. Oh, that's actually quite nice.
There you go.
Oh, that's good. Okay, this.
Chocks away.
Okay, brilliant. Another headlight away.
Yeah, another one on the side. Obviously got a nice number board out the front here to give it that racing look. And then tuck it on the side. This one's got a slightly better headlight in it, actually.
Is a better one?
Yeah, better.
You can race with this one.
I mean, you've got plenty of light that side, none of that over there. But,
perfect on the track.
Absolutely, yeah.
Take us through the build. What it started with?
Right,
Softail?
so this was a street bob, standard. So we've kept the original forks. We just diamond nitrided them. A titanium nitrided even, makes it gold.
You make it in the house?
No, we send them away and then they change that. Kept the original brakes as well, we just changed the colour. The fuel tank is not the original fuel tank, this is like a Fat Boy or a Heritage style tank. It sits lower, it's longer, cut all the stuff off the top and just make it all nice and smooth. Obviously the whole back end is gone completely, which then leaves these little bits on the frame, so we make these nice little covers. A bit of speed and custom detail in the end. Make all the seats, send it off to be retrimmed. Again, fender is Rolling Sands fender. We just cut it all up and reshaped it to give it a bit more of a number board drop down look on there. Kept with the mid-mount controls on this one as well. And then on the pipe, you can't really buy the competition pipe anyway for it now, so we can still get hold of the muffler and then we make the headers to suit, just to keep that nice classic look really. Change the bars, all stock hand control still, stock speedo, which is nice because it's all digital in there. Black the engine out, and this one we changed all the nuts and bolts to stainless steel as well, so those little bits again you don't really notice. And again, the wiring side of things, normally the big wiring harness all that side, this moved to the other side of the bike. Relocate the voltage regulator underneath, make a new belly pan. It's all those little details that sort of all add up. You don't necessarily notice them at first.
The wheels?
Absolutely, yeah. So again, special order, and then we match the paint to the wheels as well, just so it all ties in together. Why not? To get inspired by him to then put it on a Harley, why not? People do it on absolutely everything. The customer was a big fan, and we just didn't take too many elements, obviously. The 46 being a major thing. The strip up the middle here, he was going to go crazy and put that a little bit more everywhere, but we sort of toned it down a little bit, and we took, I think it's inspiration from 3 different helmets that are all just tied into that one piece.
And the goat.
And the goats, yeah, we all know what that stands for.
I love the goat the most.
Yeah.
Baby goats are one of my favorite animals.
Oh, why not?
Because you build loads of Harley Davidsons all the time.
Yeah.
How difficult, easy was to work with this build?
Because we're not changing too much, it might look like it, but it's relatively a simple build. It's new wheels, a different tank and a fender and some fancy paint. Sounds easy, but obviously everything that we do, even down to the little fender strips, everything's handmade in-house. The seat pan's handmade, the support's all handmade. These are all handmade, again, all handmade, and you lose the little details, little 4 and 6 holes, again, 46. Again, you don't notice those. Even just getting the handlebars to fit, you had to drill them all out, cut all the ends to get the fly-by-wire through. It's all little things like that all add up and just take the time, really. So what looks like a simple bike, actually is quite a lot of hours that goes into it.
It does look like it's changed a lot, but like you said, once you start paying attention, you see that it is a detail and clever work with paint into the detail, like
just doing the shock, just tying that in there. It makes a feature out of something which is They're normally just
hidden.
Just out of the way. Yeah, that's right.
It looks like a sports bike.
Yeah.
Somehow it does look faster.
I think when you start showing off all the inner workings of the bike a little bit more, I think it just gives it a little bit more interest. You can actually see where the suspension is rather than it all just hidden away.
Was it your idea?
To open it all up? Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And again, just chucking a bit of colour onto the spring. We do that with quite a lot of the bikes.
If somebody else would come and ask to build exactly the same, another customer,
which we have done. Yeah,
would you tweak it or you would do it exactly the same?
You'd be surprised how just changing the paint will change it. This is based on a bike we called the Edge, and we've done 5 replicas, fairly similar, just different shape wheels, different colour wheels, different paintwork, but the overall stance, the overall palette of everything is exactly the same. So if you looked, there's the M8 bike, which is a blacked out version with little blue details. There's the original grey one, there's one with red wheels in it. And when you see them all side by side, you can then suddenly see the difference. But if you just suddenly looked at one, you wouldn't think they're all the same bike because the colour just changes quite a lot.
So you would say that if somebody wants to change the bike without like looking too much into the details, you can play with the colour.
Absolutely,
and change it.
Yeah. Again, the colour can almost dictate how the bike should look as well. You know, if you did this sort of paint kit onto a standard bike, it probably would look a little bit tacky. It just
not a little bit.
But when you do it on something that's a little bit custom, it transforms the bike completely.
So you would call it a little bit custom, not the full custom?
Yeah, a little bit custom, yeah, because it's basically the wheels, they're the same, you know, it's not much of a change. You could have left the standard wheels. You change the rear fender and the seat, change the handlebars, moving the headlight on this particular one. It completely changes the bike.
Have you done anything to the engine of this one?
No, completely stock on the engine. So it's just the standard 107. By the time you lose all that extra weight on there, it performs absolutely brilliant. You don't need to go crazy mad on it. You can do if you want to, but
that's Valentino Rossi bike. You need to go crazy mad on it. Stage 4 is minimum.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it okay to ask how much it costs for somebody if they want to do that to the bike?
Again, I normally stay away from the pricing of things.
Roughly.
You're probably looking at about the £30,000 mark, that including the bike. But we will tailor that to your specific needs. If there's a certain style of paint that you want, we can do that. And then we try and work with the customer as well. There's nothing worse than rocking up on your custom bike and someone goes, wow, that's a nice bike, what have you done to it? I don't know, bloke down the road built it. We like to get the customer involved. They can just say, oh well, I've had this changed and I've done this, and we've just put all this on there, and this is the handmade exhaust system on there, and it just gives them a little bit more knowledge about something that they weren't overly involved in the actual build of it, but they were involved in the build.
So at least they know what happened to the bike.
Yeah.
I want to ask about the belt drive. I had some people saying that they don't see the advantage of a belt over the chain.
Okay, belt.
Can you answer them a question? Yeah.
Belt is clean, chains are dirty. The belts, we don't change them. 30,000 miles of the bike's looked after. On a chain, you're going to be changing it probably 10,000 miles depending on your style of riding. and again, if you don't keep it clean, it's going to wear out quicker. We don't have any issues with them breaking. Very rarely do we get a bike coming that's broken, and again, very rarely are we getting bikes with stones in the belt and stuff like that. So for me, it's just a nice clean way of keeping your custom bike all nice and clean and tidy. The benefit of a chain obviously is you can change the gearing quite quickly and tailor it to your specific needs, which is quite nice. The belt not so much, it's one size, that's it. But on a custom bike, who needs to be swapping and changing your gearing anyway?
So chain conversion is
we do some on the Sportsters. Again, it's mainly to
on the old Sportsters.
Yeah, on the older ones. Yeah. Again, it is just to give you a little bit more variation on the gearing side of things, and people like the look of the chain. They think it makes the bike look a lot older.
So it's more for a look.
A lot of the time, yeah.
It's good to see the build and see how much the bike can change with cleverly like this.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason why anybody couldn't recreate that in their shed at all. There's nothing that's difficult to make. Everything's handmade. And so anyone should be able to do it. Who's got a decent set of skills with their hands, really. So. Yeah, just get your Harley, rip it apart and see what happens. It's just what it's all about.
Official Sykes advice.
Yeah, I mean, on the Sportsters, we did the ST3, the first knobbly Sportster. Steve's words were, let's get it in the workshop, strip it down and see what happens. I think we must have been one of the first to put knobblies on the Sportster and give it that sort of scrambler look.
The scrambler looking in the corner.
We got a version of it up the top and the Miller time, but that was taken to the next level. It's got Olin forks and stuff like that. But that's pretty much based on this, on the ST3, which, it's still a massive iconic bike, really. We still get masses of phone calls about it all the time. So
it's gone.
Yes, it's gone.
Yeah. Somebody has it.
Yes.
Rides it.
Yes.
Hopefully.
Hopefully they ride
yes.
it, yeah. But not too much.
Do you build bikes to ride or build them to
a lot of the time I like them to look like you want to get on it and ride it. Some bikes you can make them look really spectacular, but to actually sit on it and ride it, not so much. But
so you're building
I think most
for
of the time, I think they need to be comfortable to ride. Otherwise, what's the point in building them? We're not building just static pieces of artwork. They're designed to be ridden. You get a thrill from looking at it. You get a thrill from sitting on it and showing off to your friends, and then you can get out on the road and make a bit of noise, and you get a big more thrill from that. So I think it needs to be rideable.
Thank you so much for your time. I know you are very busy building those bikes, and I'll come back to film some more.
Good.
I spotted some around and spotted some on your workshop bench as well.
There's 2 new ones up there. That's right.
Are you building some new models? Are you building some Sportster S? Everyone wants to customize Sportster S.
Yeah, the Sportster S is, again, swapping out parts is very difficult, but we've learnt that even just changing the paint makes a massive difference. We've done quite a few now, and they are pretty much lose the number plate and the lights on the back, get that tucked out of the way, and just changing the paintwork has completely transformed the bike. So you don't have to dig deep and spend loads of money, just get a good idea of what paint you want and just run with that on those.
So all the new Sportster S owners, if you want to start customizing your Sportster, start with a paint.
Yeah,
simple
by all
as
means,
that.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, lose that number plate off the back because that just ruins it a little bit. But yeah, just look at the paint, because there isn't anything else you can buy. The Harley have changed the handlebars, so they're not the same spacing, they're not the same diameter, so you can't just go and buy another set of handlebars. You have to buy a set from Harley. Again, and they're all tailored for people to be comfortable, not to look good. So yeah, just start with getting a good paint idea and take it from there.
And then hopefully,
hopefully over time people will start, they'll be changing the wheels. There should be lots of different exhaust systems. They're slowly coming in now.
Are you looking forward for it?
Yes and no. What Harley have done is very clever, especially with the exhaust system. It must have taken a lot of development and engineering that goes into the system, because it all runs back on itself and inside out and all over the place. and then all the heat that exhaust, because it sits up high, is very cleverly dissipated, so you don't sit there with a hot leg. I think if you make your own exhaust or buy an aftermarket one, it's suddenly, yes, it might look different, but I just feel it's going to be a little bit hot. And again, the running issues, I think you're going to be opening up a can of worms. So at the moment, I'm saying stick with the original pipes, black them out, drill some holes in the heat shields just to make them a little bit different, and just go and enjoy it like that. And yes, people think that they're quiet, but that's probably because they're not revving it enough. You got the new bikes, they rev twice as high. Just give it a little bit more rev, stay in gear just that little bit longer, and just use the revs. The noise will come. So people forget that. They drive it like a normal Harley. Bosh, 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 bosh through the gears and go, oh, it's a bit slow. Stay in that gear all the way, every single one, and the pipe will be screaming away and you'll be loving it. I remember the first one I went out, ran the demo route, and again, bosh, bosh, bosh through the gears and go, oh, it's not all that. And then you said, actually, let's put it in sport mode and just watch them revs, and you take them all the way up, and it's a different bike. Yeah, it's quite lively. So definitely got to get out on that.
In the future episodes, very soon from Sykes Harley Davidson. Thanks guys for watching. Thank you so much, Neil, for your time. I'll see you in the next one.